You can protest all you want. You got your First Amendment rights.
Whoa, what? Did I just hear you have First Amendment rights? I mean, I thought we're supposed to deport people after writing op-eds. Now people have First Amendment rights?
Disrupted America that I fought for.
Weird thing to happen. Entering the war zone, formerly known as Los Angeles, California. It seems like a reboot. We've seen this before in numerous instances, but it's happening again. This time, Trump is sending the National Guard to LA County amid anti-ICE protests. This is from the local Fox affiliate. And breaking, ICE agents have reportedly conducted raids outside Home Depot locations, following suggestions from White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller, as you can see on the left there, as some sort of cartoonish villain. So, LA is being destroyed, and ICE is clamping down on California in this kind of North Korean, Soviet-style execution in order to capture a few individuals from Home Depot. That is just crazy. So, Breakthrough News points out, happening now, ICE raids at a Home Depot in Paramount, California, deploying tear gas and flashbangs as outraged community members protest. In response, the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department has blocked off nearby roads. Protesters state that ICE has remained in the parking lot for hours, surrounded by the crowd. So ICE officials, because people were protesting over Trump's mass deportation, and we've seen the results of mass deportation when you don't put checks and balances on ICE officials and DHS and let these people roam free, there's going to be havoc. They're going to start deporting people for the most heinous reasons possible, like writing op-eds or being a college student expressing free speech. It's no longer about collecting people from MS-13 gangs or child rapists or anything like that. It's now cultivating anybody who stands in the way of their American vision. Their American vision of serving the needs of Israel first. Their American vision of not having diversity of thought, not having the free speech that people thought MAGA was going to encapsulate as part of their agenda. That didn't plan out to be. And now you have ICE roaming around like free agents, cultivating anyone they choose. Because they're not putting checks and balances. They're not putting them on a leash. And we know how heinous the ICE agency is when it comes to individuals that don't need deportation, that are not convicted of any crimes. So here's what broke down in California, in Los Angeles, Paramount, California, during the ICE protests.
Paper straight to the people. Why don't you go do that with the people if they're doing wrong? Who street? Who street? Who street?
So here, Nick Sorter says, breaking, the FBI has now been deployed to downtown Los Angeles to assist ICE with a raid because leftist protesters are threatening agents. So I love how people just automatically jump the bandwagon to just assume that anyone that's against mass deportation is automatically one of these leftist lunatics. But what they fail to understand is that there's a lot of people that disagree with these massive ICE raids because ICE is actually breaking the law and not following to code of conduct based in their agency. And like I said, when you don't have the checks and balances, when you let these people roam free in this lawless cycle, they're going to do whatever they can, especially how corrupted the FBI and ICE are in serving the needs of foreign entities, for example, they're going to capitulate on deportation of people that don't need to be deported. And it's just a complete exploitation, and it's completely anti-American what these individuals are doing. What the people of ICE are doing is the opposite of what they tell people that they're doing. And so says this is madness. Every single person who is interfering should be dragged away in handcuffs. And he links to this news channel, KTLA, with some coverage here of people that started off as a peaceful protest. But we know from past instances that when there's a peaceful protest, there are a few agitators. And a few agitators might come from deep insiders, as we have seen time and time again. That the purpose of agitating a peaceful protest, whether being the pro-Palestine, whether being this, whether being Occupy Wall Street, is to have these agitators to diminish the initial intent of why they're protesting and make the people protesting seem like the enemy.
Do you think they're still bringing more people out? Is that what they're setting up for here?
I think they're just trying to get the rest of the agents out. This is mostly FBI at this point that are here, and they were probably collecting additional evidence from inside and just making sure that all their agents were out of the building before they dispersed. So we are seeing a couple more agents that are making their way out of the building. As far as people that are being taken into custody, I believe for the most part, the people that they were targeting inside the building have been taken into custody and were taken away in those vans, and now it's just a matter of the remainder of the investigators and agents to leave the location. So, and that's what we're seeing here. They're starting to kind of wrap things up here. So I feel that this is going to basically wrap up here within the next several minutes, and ultimately we'll see the crowd kind of disperse, but it's just a matter of whether they are going to...
Even just looking at the amount of ICE officers at the scene there for what potentially is dragging out a few individuals from Home Depot. Do you see how crazy that is? The amount of agents that are storming into California to take few people away from a couple businesses that have either expired visas that could easily be dealt with in a court setting in a peaceful manner. But no, we're going to storm in with armored equipment, with riot gear, expecting a riot, and we're going to start attacking people within California, even the legal residents of California. Almost like they intended that to happen. Almost like the whole purpose of these ICE raids in a massive scale was to exploit the system instead of actually dealing with immigration head on and dealing with the loopholes and the scam artists and the tricks and shenanigans within the legislation that approves mass migration at an alarming rate. They're doing this route purposely to exploit measures to go after Americans. Because if you look at where ICE came from, you look at where DHS came from, you look at where a lot of these security agencies came from, it came from the post 9/11 era. Meaning it was a time where we scared people to bejesus to give up their security, their safety, their happiness, their civil liberties, and pass that off to the agitators, which is the deep state, which is the State Department. That's where you got the DHS. That's where you got ICE. These are all Bush neocon agencies cultivating to exploit the measures of mass migration, and now we're going to deport people, hoping that some individuals are watching this going, yeah, Take down that guy who's brown. Yeah! Go back to whatever Kazakhstan you're from. They're hoping that the MAGA chuds fall into that, not knowing that this is all done purposely by design to eventually come after you. That eventually ICE, DHS is going to come after American citizens. That once you tip the ladder, once you open the floodgate, everyone has a target on their back. And it's only going to get worse because now all this information is going towards Palantir. Trump is now announcing that all the information collected from IRS, the DHS, ICE, immigration, your driver's license, so everything is going to be incorporated by Palantir. You know, that lovely organization that's involved with AI technology to kill people, to kill Palestinians, to harbor this technocratic feudalism that these tech bros and billionaires have envisioned for years, had wet dreams about. This is what's happening. This is what's happening. This is why people are protesting about it. So this person here, Can Hates Trump, says, "Dear America, with all due respect, we'll pass on becoming your 51st state. Sincerely, Canada." I gotta say, as a Canadian, I have to kind of agree with that. Do you really want that in your backyard? Even though Mark Carney, as we saw in the previous segment, is going down that direction. Is going down that same direction, because this is not just Trump's America. This is Western society. This is neoliberal or neoconservative globalistic standard that there's going to be tyrannical control, that everything's going to be turned into some sort of North Korea-esque technocratic feudalist society where law enforcement are going to penalize you, where you don't have free speech, you don't have civil liberties, you're going to give up your rights, your sovereignty to the corporate state that's aligned with government agencies, which is a form of fascism. That's what's happening. So, yeah, I don't blame people for not wanting to be the 51st state or even going to America at this point. But Daisy Media, or do you see Dassey? Dassey Media says, of course, Canada will just roll over and let itself be taken 800,000 new people in 4 months. Our systems are on the verge of collapse. So, again, yes, immigration is a serious matter. But having these ICE raids attacking people on the streets is not going to solve it. It's not going to solve it. Not even mass deportation is going to solve this problem, because more people are going to be pouring in as they're deporting more. It's not going to stop unless you cut off the source. And the source of the problem usually stems by the billionaire class that are using this and exploiting people in some human trafficking surge. Or it's our war machine that's doing catastrophic damages around the world that people are seeking refuge elsewhere. Maybe we stop intervening in countries. Maybe stop blowing them up. Maybe cut back on the Pentagon spending. Put that towards border protection. Imagine that $1 trillion went towards facilitating actual proper border protection instead of blowing up the rest of the world to make the rest of the world look shittier, as America does right now. Imagine that was the case. So here is some more video here. These are ICE officials on the streets, and they're attacking people with rubber bullets. They're in full riot gear. I mean, this literally looks like Gestapo. This literally looks like something out of 1940s Germany coming towards individuals, because we don't want ICE raids terrorizing our towns and cities to deal with only a few individuals that could have easily been done with without this mess. come on now. How can you not want to travel to California after this? It seems beautiful. You get fresh air. The sun's out. Yeah, you may get the smell of tear gas here and then, but, you know, it's going to happen in your backyard at some point, so come to California, experience the New World Order coming soon to your community. And I don't blame people. I don't blame people. So, Gunther Eagleman has definitely a mega username right there. No one, that's got to be a stage name. No one could be named Gunther Eagleman intentionally. That's got to be some sort of stage name. Or if it is his real name, then, you know, good for you, I guess. But he says, holy S, Tom Hallman is ticked off after witnessing what happened today in LA. Every single one of them, no matter what it takes, no matter how long it takes, will, of course, be identified. So you remember Tom Hallman is one of the directors of these ICE raids. And he and his good buddy, Dr. Phil, I'm surprised Dr. Phil wasn't at the scene. Maybe he can calm the people down with a psychiatric session there. Tom Hallman went on Fox News to try to denounce all the people angered at these ICE raids and say that they're lunatics, that they don't understand that, you know, ICE isn't in the wrong here. ICE is just doing their job. Why are you bitching out about this? So take a listen.
ICE responding to these protests, and thanks for joining us tonight.
Look, we're going to continue doing our job. And yesterday, we got 118 arrests. You know, I was out here yesterday to kick off this operation. And what people aren't talking about is ICE served, you know, several warrants yesterday. These were criminal warrants. This is a criminal investigation. And today, we're continuing operations. They're not going to shut us down. We're out there right now doing operations. We're going to keep doing operations. We brought in more resources to push back the protesters, but I'll say it again, a serious warning. You can protest all you want. You got your First Amendment rights. But if you cross that line...
Whoa, what? Did I just hear you have First Amendment rights? That doesn't sound right. I mean, I thought we're supposed to deport people after writing op-eds. I thought we're supposed to, you know, cancel their visas, even though they're legal residents. I thought we're supposed to deport them. I thought we'll send them to CCOT. Deport, then ask questions later. Oh, now people have First Amendment rights? Huh. That's funny. Sure doesn't seem to look like that. Coming from a guy who looks like the roadie for a Larry the Cable Guy stand-up show. No offense to Larry the Cable Guy. I'm sure he does great work.
Impediment, or you putting hands on officers or destroy property, you will be prosecuted. There's zero tolerance on crossing that lines, and that's what we're standing by. We're bringing more resources as we speak. We'll have more resources tonight. We're going to continue doing the job that American people voted Donald Trump in office to do, and we're not going to apologize for doing it.
Tom, it's Alicia Acuna. Again, thank you so much for being here. During the protest yesterday, a Los Angeles City Council member called for mobilization against ICE. Listen.
They know how quickly we mobilize. That's why they're changing tactics. Because community defense works and our resistance has slowed them down before. And if they're escalating their tactics, then so are we. When they show up, we got to show up even stronger.
So, Tom, will the Trump administration take action against these public officials who are threatening ICE agents with resistance?
Absolutely. I think Pam Bondi and the Department of Justice is looking at that. And, you know, like I said many times, she's...
Yeah, Pam Bondi is definitely looking into that. Pam Bondi, again, another foolish idiot that just wants deportation for the brownie points, but not actually do the paperwork, the checks and balances that you were promised when voting for Trump. Trump said he was going to deport the criminals. That's what people thought he was going to do. Now it turns out, hey, anyone can be deported. I can deport you because you're bad-mouthing Israel. I could deport you because you write an op-ed about Stephen Miller having no hair. I could deport you for looking at JD Vance weird. That's what happens when you leave these lunatics out of control with no strict policy, no strict agenda, not having leashed to being what they're supposed to be, and letting them roam wild like this. And Tom Holman saying, well, we're doing the job that we're elected to do. Did people elect this? Did people elect you storming into communities like it's a Nazi raid in Poland? Did they vote for this? Did they vote for this? Or did they vote for a legal checks and balances where people have due process, and if they are committed of a crime, then we will deport them. Then we'll deal with them in a legal setting. But no, ICE officials, just like cops, shoot first, ask questions later. Because they don't have time. They don't have time to do checks and balances. They don't have time to look into things. That's what was it, Pam Bondi? Was it Pam Bondi or the other lady? We don't have the time to look into every case. What's the point of ICE then? What's the point of this agency? You're supposed to look into every case and have these bodies, have these entities figure out if there is a need for deportation or not. That's the whole purpose. But no, the whole intent of having ICE officials, or having ICE in general, which frankly at this point seems unnecessary, is because this is neoconservative police state. This is a surveillance state. This is what they're trying to do.
Elected officials or these non-government organizations, they can't cross the line either. I mean, we got people like, Hakeem Jeffries saying he's going to dox ICE employees. ICE agents out there with masks on. They're wearing masks to protect themselves and their families because they've been doxxed, their families been doxxed, their life's been threatened, their families have been threatened. I know myself, I had over 1,000 protesters at my house. I expect that as the borders are, but these men and women are putting their lives online every day. They arrested a lot of bad people yesterday and today. They arrested child sex offenders. They arrested people convicted of robbery. They arrested public safety, not only significant public safety threats, but national security threats. They arrested gang members. We're making Los Angeles safer. And Mayor Bass ought to be...
They're making Los Angeles safer. How many times have you heard that before? Oh, we're doing this for you. We're doing this for your safety by beating up your fellow citizens. We're making this safer for you. It's safer now. Don't you just love Trump's America? Everybody not coming here, they're just jealous. Canadians are just jealous not to come here. You're making it so much safer, you guys. Beating up people, throwing people into CCOT for writing op-eds, seizing, hacking people's privacy data on their phones. It's making things safer. Just like how, rounding up these immigrants are definitely going to bring union jobs back. I could already feel the wages going up. Don't you feel the wages going up? Yeah, it's not going to happen because it was never intended to happen. Because you live in an oligarchy, you live in a mass surveillance state, and this is an example of the mass surveillance state. Disguised as protection, disguised as immigration, dealing with the, criminal cartels that live among us, but really it's to seize opportunity and control over the population. They want to do this all across the board. They want to do this in California, New York, Boston, everywhere. Everywhere. And as a Canadian, looking at this, seeing how horrific this is, makes me worry what Canada has in store. Because Canada is going to the same direction. They're claiming that, we're doing this for your safety. Opening up your mail, hacking into your X account, doxing not only you, who posts things, but also anyone that follows you, shares you, or is related to you anywhere on the internet. This is exactly the totalitarian nightmare the dystopian that they've envisioned since George H.W. Bush announced a New World Order tactic. This is what they've wanted. This is why ICE exists. Because, hey, we dealt with immigration in the 90s. There was no ICE then. How about the 80s? There was no ICE then. Why did we wait till after 9/11 to have Department of Homeland Security and the and ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement? Why did we wait specifically till after 9/11? That was the best time to scare people. Best time to scare people. When a terrorist attack happens, you're not allowed to question it. You think that there's a terrorist around every corner. And so the best way to protect yourself and your freedoms is to take your freedoms away from you. That's the best way to do it. So here's Donald Trump announcing on Truth Social, a once great American city, Los Angeles, has been invaded and occupied by illegal aliens and criminals. Now violent insurrectionist mobs, oh God, are swarming and attacking our federal agents to try to stop our deportation operations. But these lawless riots only strengthen our resolve. I am directing Secretary of Homeland Security, I screwed that up, Kristi Noem, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, and Attorney General Pam Bondi, in coordinates with all relevant departments and agencies, to take such necessary action to liberate Los Angeles from the migrant invasion and put an end to these migrant riots. Order to be restored, the illegals will be expelled, and the Los Angeles will be set free. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Trump has a weird way of posting things. He makes it sound like it's a script for a PSA. But again, this is them trying to falsify the fact that, you know, hey, if we do this, you know, malpractice, if we, you know, restrict your constitutional rights, go after people, turn your cities into hellscape, this is going to benefit you. This is going to benefit you. Somehow this is going to, you know, increase your wages. Somehow this is going to bring unions back. Somehow this is going to restore the sanctity of Los Angeles. Considering Los Angeles has been in ruins for many decades. Far beyond these ICE riots. So Daniel D. DiMartino, Trump reaffirms his support for H-1B visas and also H-2B visas because we got to have the best people, including engineers, but also lower skilled occupations in a legal way. So this is again why ICE is so useless, because Trump clearly is pandering to both sides of the immigration debate. The guy who's so serious of cracking down on people that, oh, we want to restore American jobs. At the same time, let's bring in more people. Let's have more H-1B visas. And MAGA supporters are pissed off at this. MAGA supporters are definitely pissed off at this because they know that the H-1B visas are coming after their jobs. And the companies that a lot of MAGA supporters, people that vote for Trump, work for companies that are pushing Trump to enforce this. And it's completely undermining America. It's completely undermining making America great again. So, no, people did not vote for that, but they got it anyway. And here's Donald Trump announcing, just announced on the LA riots, these are not protesters. These are troublemakers and insurrectionists. Remember, no masks. Send in the Marines. Gitmo. As ICE officials, as ICE agents are wearing full-on riot gear. And then also Governor Gavin Newsom and Mayor Bass should apologize to the people of Los Angeles for the absolutely horrible job that they've done And now that includes the ongoing LA riots. I mean, Gavin Newsom and Mayor Bass have already lost all their credibility. All their credibility. There's not even a point to make an appearance. Even if they came out and did something, even if they came out and gave lip service to pretend to deal with this situation, you saw what happened with the LA fires. You saw the just lack of compassion, the lack of self-awareness. You just saw the emptiness of these two individuals. What would they do if Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass were to come out of the shadows and say something about it? What would they say? What would they say? Because anything they say is just going to ruin more of their reputation. They have already screwed themselves 9 ways Sunday. What is the point? What would be the point of them even doing anything about this? And because of them being so incompetent and just the utter destruction of LA and California as a whole is now allowing Trump and ICE to basically take over. Federal agencies are taking over California because your government, your governor, your mayors, your people responsible for these individual communities completely ignored you. And completely, by design, are self-destructing their own communities. Leaving it in the hands of someone like Donald Trump. So Donald Trump again announcing that a great job by the National Guard of Los Angeles after 2 days of violence, clashes, and unrest. We have an incompetent Governor Gavin Newsom and Mayor Karen Bass, who were, as usual, look at how they handled the fires, and now they're very slow permitting disaster. Federal permitting is complete, unable to handle the task. These radical left protesters by instigators and often paid troublemakers will not be tolerated. Also, from now on, masks will not be allowed to be worn at protests. What do these people have to hide and why? Thank you to the National Guard for a job well done. And he has just a weird. If you ever see Donald Trump posting things, it's weird. The 3 question marks. Very interesting. But here's also something interesting. So Donald Trump posted that. That was early morning, 2:41 a.m. But the National Guard didn't even show up then. And it says here from Blue Georgia, President Trump thanked the National Guard for a job well done. But we've actually seen them just arrive here this morning. So they didn't show up till later that morning. But he is already thanking them on Truth Social. Thank you, the National Guard, for pretending to somewhat show up, but later on. It's a pre-thank you. It's a pre-thank you, okay? It's a great thing. Pre-thank you. And what's even more devastating is not only ICE going after individual civilians, but just going after the journalists, which again is hurting the cause. It's hurting ICE. So anything Tom Holman says about, we're just doing our job, does this incorporate hitting an Australian reporter, a journalist, just documenting the riots, was attacked by ICE? Is that incorporated into your job description that you're harassing journalists? Because if that's the case, that's nothing to do with immigration. That's you being a tyrannical agency of totalitarianism and turning into a mass surveillance state, which is exactly what ICE is doing. So then comes, this is the most interesting part, Laura Loomer, who commented on this, saying, time to deploy Palantir technology to Los Angeles to deal with these illegals. You know you'd love to see it. You're lying if you say you wouldn't. I'd be laughing right now if that wasn't true. But that actually reveals the whole intent of this game. We should almost get the soundbite for the Lotto Max scanner. Gagnon. Winner. Gagnon. Because she just revealed the game. She just revealed the game. That, hey, we got to deal with this migrant crisis. ICE can't deal with it. There's too much chaos on the street. So let's get Palantir to destroy your civil liberties and turn it into a mass surveillance state where you become in a technological viewless society, which is exactly why they are doing this. This is all done by design. All done by design. And you got Laura Loomer accidentally revealing the game, but also pledging support to it. That she wants Palantir to spy on everyday Americans. And I love how she says, well, it's only the illegals. Again, just like the Patriot Act. Oh, it's only the terrorists we're spying on. Where did that go? Where did that go? And here's Laura Loomer again. I don't care. I would say it again. I don't care if Palantir technology surveils jihads and illegals. I want them all out of my country. Do you really think we're going to have mass deport 65 million people without advanced technology? Are you really that naive? Remove every single one of them. I don't know where she got the 65 million people. But this is the whole intent of this. This is the whole intent of fear-mongering, of, pushing the limitations, pushing the envelope, the capabilities of law enforcement. This is what it's all intended to do. They're trying to make it more and more and more and more of a nightmare, of a hellhole, so that people will bend the knee to the technocratic state. They're hoping that people bend the knee to more authoritarianism as time goes on, built by the design of pushing mass migration, having these ICE officials storm into California, having the riots exist. It's all to create chaos so that people looking at this are in constant fear and paranoia, and surrender their will to the state. That's what all this is intending. And that's what Laura Loomer just revealed. Just revealed accidentally and in full support of this. So here's Dr. Jill Stein showing a graph here. This graph here from Steven Stelmer talking about the boosting of ICE is bipartisan. So there's the Trump budgets, there's the Biden budget. So Democrats or Republicans, they both supported the mass ICE raids. They all supported this. They all, going back to Barack Obama. Who do you think built the detention facilities? Was that Trump? No, it was Obama, actually. And Trump actually deported less people in his first term than Barack Obama and Joe Biden did combined. So here's Dr. Jill Stein. Fascism is bipartisan. Don't be fooled into thinking this is just Trump's doing. The Patriot Voice says if you want to get it to the public on board with the Palantir police state nightmare, I would stage as many false flags as it takes to show you why my totalitarian AI surveillance technology is a good thing for public safety and how it quells terrorism. I'd start and facilitate many riots with illegal immigrants, bring in ICE, National Guard, and SWAT teams, deploying robot police dogs using Palantir facial recognition technology to control the situation and show you why this is necessary to stop it. So, Patriot Voice is revealing exactly what's happening in Los Angeles. This is all done by design, purposely to perpetuate into getting this technology. I would have the public at large eating out of my hand and begging for their own surveillance and enslavement in exchange for a safer world. I would convince you that this is normal and force you to accept it while monitoring your every move and eviscerating what's left of your civil liberties. Problem, reaction, solution. Have you ever heard of the Heligian dialect? Every single time. So, he's the true winner of the game here. He just revealed all and more of what's going on here. This is why we have mass migration. This is why we have these deportation rates. This is why California is having another riot. This is all purposely done by design. You systematically trick people to turn things upside down into a hellish scape that people beg for giving up their civil liberties, giving up their rights, giving up their privacy, and enslaving themselves, surrendering themselves to people like Palantir to make themselves feel safer, even though it doesn't make them in a safer world. In fact, this is the opposite of making things a safer world, because Palantir will do anything. If they have control over you, they will do anything to exploit you, to oppress you, anything to get their way. And this is one of the many steps of how they're going to create a technological fuelless society by making the current state of affairs into the worst nightmare of your life, hoping that people will beg and surrender to this hellish nightmare that George Orwell has warned us about for many years.